So, let's talk about Stressed Eric. This is a special kind of bad. Now, some shows have your typical torture porn, an episode that exists just to abuse one specific character. And sometimes you have a whole show made on that one premise. And then there's this. I absolutely loathe this show. Not only is it painful, it's incredibly obnoxious about its painfulness. It's not going to be a pleasant one. A little background. It's animated by Klasky Kupo. At least the first season was. And you know what? Forget Angelica's preschool whatever. This is the worst thing that they ever had a part in. It's also one of the few products they made not aimed at children. And you guys all know how rare a good adult cartoon is. It's not a problem that started in the 2000s. Look, I'm wasting time. I got the 15-minute time limit, and we got a lot to talk about. Let's just get into it. The episode we're doing is called Hospital. Now, the show's about one guy. One specific guy. His name is Eric Peeble, and his life is awful. The point of the show is watching everything go wrong in his life for no good reason. That's all you need to know to hate this show, but let's take a closer look. It starts with Eric's obnoxious snoring, and then his alarm starts. It ends up pushing him into the back wall, and he gets a nosebleed trying to turn it off. We're off to an excellent start.
Maria, can you get that? I'm getting dressed.
Maria is his houseworker. She is constantly drunk and never does what she's paid to do. You know, I never really got that cliche of the worker who shouldn't have ever been hired. Yeah, well, that's a lazy way to be ironic. And considering everything else about Eric's life and this show, it gets to be rather frustrating very quickly. Also, that's another little thing. In this episode, at least, they seem to have picked all the most obnoxious sound effects for no apparent reason. That, in its own right, gives me a headache. So let's talk about Eric's character. He's a single father who takes care of two children. One who has severe allergies to pretty much everything, and the other one who has a mental disability and pica. Why is Eric a single father? Because his wife, Liz, left him for another guy. And yet she still phones him up for every minor problem. There's a fatal flaw in the construction of this premise. Each of these things that Eric is builds our sympathy towards him, which is the last thing you want in a show about torturing someone. It's a basic standard of comedy. The more of an asshole someone is, the more we want the world to be an ass to him. And if he's sympathetic, we want him to succeed in the end. And spoilers, Eric does not succeed, ever. Eric talks to his doctor about an upcoming interview. Because this is an adult show and we need to randomly throw in references to sex because it's an adult show, and that is literally the only part of life that's unique to being an adult, the doctor not only uses sex metaphors, but is grooming his pubic hairs. We talk about how important this interview is to Eric. And here's the main problem with the show in general. It revolves around one joke, and one joke only. Everything must hurt Eric. It's not long before you see the setups either. Because this job is important to Eric, he's not going to get this job.
Only one way you're ever going to give yourself a chance at this interview.
And what's that?
Relax.
Number one, that doctor, Eric's doctor, never actually prescribes Eric medicine for his stress, which is actually a chronic problem. Number two, that sounds like you're placing the blame on Eric for getting stressed out in his life, when, as you'll see later in the episode, he has every single reason to be stressed.
Oh no! Why is it anything important ends up in your mouth? What?
Ignoring the fact that he has pica, you've answered your own question. It's important and the universe literally hates you.
Oh, poor Gwendolyn. Your analogy's getting worse.
Claire, please put Gwendolyn down. Maria! You're supposed to play with prescription dolly, darling.
By the end of this, she's going to mess with the doll and she'll get a rash.
Oh, darling, I haven't got time. You'll have to ask Maria. If she ever gets up!
Okay, shut the fuck up. Good God. I understand that people shout someone else's name a lot in reality, but even in reality, it's one of the most annoying fucking things in the world. It does not need to be in media too.
Where the hell have you been? You went out last night at 7 o'clock to get some tea bags, and now it's 8 o'clock the next morning.
Once again, shut the fuck up. Bickering about domestic conflict is not funny. It's obnoxious as hell. And it's just filler. I know that there's this arbitrary rule that adult cartoons can only have 22-minute episodes for some reason, but you don't have to be so obnoxious with your filler.
When I get home, you and I are going to have a serious chat, madam.
Okay, if she does this frequently and doesn't frequently do her job, there really is only one solution. Get a new fucking housekeeper! Seconds after getting out of the house, on Eric's way to getting to the interview, he gets hit by an ambulance. Is that ironic? I see. What is the point of assaulting my ears? These things don't even annoy Eric. Anyway, Eric comes to the hospital emergency room.
I've got an interview.
If you'd like to take a seat, the nurse will see you as soon as she can.
No, you don't understand. I've got an interview in 20 minutes and I really need to be seen straight away.
I'm sorry, sir, but you are not a priority case.
One of the problems with socialized medicine. You see that guy banging on the vending machine and making a loud sound effect that's drowning out what's going on in the foreground? Not only is it grating as hell, but it's the show flat out telling me that what's being said in the foreground is entirely pointless. They might not have intended it that way, but that's exactly how it comes across. Eric manages to reschedule his interview for later. He does this a few times in the episode. These are the only times in the episode that the plot tries to subvert expectations. But it's just not enough. On top of that, I think the only reason the plot is doing it, because if it didn't wave the carrot in front of Eric, we'd have no plot where you repeatedly hit him with a stick for the remainder of the 22 minutes. Also, that big scary guy is going to hurt Eric, repeatedly. This is going to end badly.
Oh, I tell you something, pubic lice don't half itch.
You wouldn't say that unless it would hurt Eric in some way. So he's going to get that guy's pubic lice, and while he's trying to pick it out, he'll be skipped over in the nurse's call.
So he says, we always stop in on a Tuesday, and I said, I know we always stop in on a Tuesday. I said, I want to go to a pub, and he said, well, we always go to a pub on Friday, and I said, I know we always go to a pub on Friday, I want to go to a pub on a Tuesday.
You know, the sound effects wouldn't be so damn obnoxious if each one didn't go on for like 3 times longer than they should.
Well, if anyone asks where I am, could you just tell them, tell them I'm at the dentist.
She's an airhead. She's going to screw up and come up with a useless excuse. She probably does that in every single other episode, too. You see that grotesque thing? The point of the episode is getting Eric so stressed that that grotesque vein comes alive and ends up strangling him. It's like a game of how long can he last. You wish I was kidding.
Look, it can do somersaults and all. Oh, hang on, where's he going?
Yeah, of course. Also, Eric's ex-wife calls him about someone coming to kill a tree in her front yard. It leads absolutely nowhere, except maybe her forcing Eric to get hurt somehow, or miss the rescheduled visit with a nurse. Oh, by the way, because Eric was in the bathroom, he missed his name getting called and must wait from the beginning again.
If you'd like to take a seat, the nurse will see you as soon as she can.
Good God, you're more annoying than a random townsperson NPC. The stove is going to catch fire. You see how they're focusing on the stove for a very long time, and how there's clearly a gas sound effect? What else is going to happen? You see how they're taking longer and longer trying to build up tension? That only works when there's suspense as to what's going to happen. It's a fucking stove with a gas sound effect. I know exactly what's going to happen. Also, the daughter kisses the doll and she gets an allergic reaction. Hey, I'm really good at this game. Maybe that's a problem with the episode. An important element in comedy is keeping your audience on its toes. If they know exactly what's coming, your joke fails. The stove catches even more on fire because karma. Actually, you know what? It catches on fire because drunk karma. That's the only explanation. In the show, karma is drunk as fuck. The chewed up fire blanket makes the fire worse. Maria doesn't do anything because she's useless. You know, having a character who is useless can be very beneficial to comedy. But here's the thing. It takes a lot more work making them funny than it would take making someone who's competent funny. Another burly guy comes into the hospital and both of them beat each other up, stopping Eric from getting into the second nurse's appointment. Also, Eric is now worse than when he started. Nope, he hasn't even seen the doctor yet. And a lot of people get hurt in hospitals. People even die in hospitals.
Friday.
Where the Asperger's is Eric?
There's something about this guy I just don't like.
Oh yeah, he's gone to funeral.
Hey, I'm really good at this guessing game. So when is the doctor not going to be able to do anything to help Eric, making this whole hospital visit completely pointless?
I'm a priority case now.
No, you're more of a priority case than you were, but you're not enough of a priority case to actually be a priority case.
That might actually be funny if it wasn't so sad, because that's how our medical systems tend to operate. Yeah, that's another thing about this show. Many people know and feel and can relate to the frustrations of being forced to wait in a place like this, or being this close to being late for an important interview. That makes this episode a lot more frustrating than funny, unless you really go out of your way to twist things up, which they're not. Getting an STD or getting stabbed are real reasons that people go to an emergency room. On some level, these are things that could actually happen. Also, you want to know what real irony is? Naming the emergency room, because that's the last fucking place you want to be in an actual emergency.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
I think that your audio equipment is broken. Also, Eric's doctor comes by. Because he's a dick, he distracts the nurse, making it take longer for Eric to get looked at. Which, yes, may or may not be ironic, depending on the circumstances of both who the doctor is and the medical institution in general. Here, it's not ironic because that's exactly what I fucking expect.
Yes?
Feeble, it's PP, phoning to say how sorry I am, what you've just been through. It's a double arse burger with cheese on.
I really just can't put my finger on it, but this guy is doing something that just really ticks me off. In frustration, Eric pulls the knife out, it ricochets because drunk karma, and hits him again. Finally, Eric gets called. Well, that's just morbid.
We'll probably need to send you down to X-ray.
Oh,
my god, a private patient!
So everyone drops what they're doing and tends to the minimal problems of someone who could pay a lot of money. The problem with capitalized medicine. Wait, which one does the UK have? Either way, I called it. So Eric needs to take his own x-rays. Meanwhile, the fire department and an ambulance go down to Eric's building and pick up his family.
Hold it! She'll be wanting a dolly!
Which is probably going to cause another allergic reaction.
Oh God, please, no.
Murderer! Murderer!
Alice, not now.
Did Eric, kick puppies in a previous life or something?
That's typical! Me! Sikander's dead! And all you can think of is your pity!
You know, it's never really fun or funny listening to divorced people talk to each other. Once again, in most cases, it's just really kind of sad. So, Eric has a heart attack and becomes a priority case instantly.
The way in which tragedy was averted is a testament to healthcare in Britain. It makes me proud that someone can be seen so quickly, efficiently, and privately.
Once again, I'm not too knowledgeable on the healthcare system of Britain in the 1990s, but this sounds like some half-assed social commentary, despite the fact that they've showcased both the problems of capitalized and socialized medicine. So Eric triumphantly walks out of the hospital, tearfully thanks the interview people for the patients, and promptly gets hit by an ambulance carrying his family. No, it's not ironic either. It's just sad. Like this whole fucking show. I can kinda see the logic behind it. Like, maybe if someone sees someone else in more misery than they are, they'll feel better about themselves. Which, in all honesty, can come off as, at least your life isn't like this guy's, why the fuck are you complaining? Stressed Eric is just unpleasant. One of the most unpleasantly unfunny shows I've ever seen. Every second of this episode that isn't assaulting you with some annoying bickering or grating sound effect, it's just one guy being kicked when he's down in life. Back in the day, it was negatively compared to The Simpsons and South Park, but it doesn't even deserve to be mentioned in the same breath. I mean, this show is like a 90s underdog movie where the main character tries their best at a sport, loses every single game, loses their parents' love when they do, causing him to fail out of school and get a meth addiction and then die in the streets. You can make someone's misery as over the top as possible as you want, but if you misunderstand the basics of comedy, you will fail every single time.